The Knicks made a number of big moves this summer, including landing Mikal Bridges and then just a few weeks ago, trading for Karl-Anthony Towns, but not without upsetting a few people, including Donte DiVincenzo, the former Knick who was sent to Minnesota in the deal to land Towns. Now, the Knicks respond to DiVincenzo's comments while on the floor in the Wolves versus Knicks game. I'm Trevor Lane. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin. We did hit our goal of 6,000 subscribers before the season starts. If you want to get in on the fun, hit the subscribe button. We're going to keep you up to date on all things going on around the NBA throughout the season. All right, so here's what's going on. Donte DiVincenzo, when the Knicks played the Minnesota Timberwolves, a short time after the trade went down, this is what happened.
But once he processed those feelings, having been traded before, he talked to Julius and started to become excited about the team that wanted him. And so far, he's fit in really well in Minnesota. I'm told he's already seen as a vocal leader on the team, having a big impact on rookie Rob Dillingham and a budding relationship with Ant, guys.
So I don't know if you caught it there, but Donte DiVincenzo saying, this is what, talking to the Knicks bench, saying, this is what happens when you run the show, and also saying, thanks for the trade. Clearly, DiVincenzo not thrilled that he was sent out in this deal to go to Minnesota. And now on the Roommate Show, Knicks players Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and new Knick, Karl-Anthony Towns, responded to Donte DiVincenzo's comments. Here's what they had to say.
Yes, in that case. So Donte was talking that to
No, families fight. Things are said. I mean, should have been handled better on both sides, but everyone thinks the world's crumbling.
Also, you don't even get to the point where you're doing that unless you have a really deep, decade-long relationship. You know, like you said, families fight.
When you get traded, sometimes you feel unwanted. Whenever you play that team, whether it's the preseason, like you always, like you go at that team. Like it's always personal for you. Everyone's like, oh, it's a business, it's a business. We're actual people. We have emotions, we have feelings. But at the end of the day, it's always love because you've had, you know, you've grown relationships and you went through adversity with those people.
I also feel like it happened a week and a half ago, and all of a sudden we're playing them.
Yeah.
It never really happened.
Yeah, that'll be resolved inside the family.
So I thought that was really interesting. You know, Jalen Brunson says, he notes that, hey, it happened like a week and a half ago, and then suddenly we're playing them. Now it's a preseason game, but as Josh Hart notes, every time that you're traded, you feel like you want to go back after that team because there is that emotional reaction. And it's true. It's true. People look at NBA players as demigods, as though they are beyond mortal men, that they don't have human emotions. And look, they can do things athletically that very, very, very few people on this planet can do. But these are still human beings that are going to have emotions, that are going to feel some kind of way if they're traded, especially with the inherent message being sent that we don't want you. That's oftentimes what players are going to take. And we also know that NBA players are not above being petty in order to boost their own performance on the floor. I mean, Michael Jordan, right? The infamous meme. And I took that personally, trying to find things to take personally to fuel them, to drive them. These guys have been competing their entire lives. And so if they have something that's going to give them that little extra edge, this team didn't want me, this team traded me, I'm going to really stick it to them. They are not above using that as motivation, sometimes even making it into a bigger deal than it actually is in order to help improve their performance on the floor. Now, I'm not saying that's what Donte DiVincenzo is doing here, just saying there's a history of players doing that in the NBA. DiVincenzo clearly not thrilled with the Knicks, again, saying this is what happens when you run things, saying thanks for the trade sarcastically. Clearly, he's not happy and he feels upset about what happened. But as the guys noted there, this is also what happens when there's real emotion behind things, when you have a connection with the team, when you feel like you're part of a family and suddenly you're pushed out of that family, there's going to be an emotional reaction. And that's what we saw from Donte DiVincenzo. Now, the Knicks are saying, you know, we'll handle it and we'll take care of it in-house and, you know, and all of that. But said families fight, and they're right. There's emotion behind this game. And this is part of why we look at the NBA. And I want to get to Karl-Anthony Towns' reaction next to being traded and how he found out that he was traded. But this is part of being a basketball player and having emotions being shown. You think about football. Hell, even baseball, guys are wearing hats, but in football, guys are wearing helmets. In hockey, guys are wearing helmets. In the NBA, you're wearing a tank top, right? Like that's what you're wearing out there on the floor. So we see much more of the emotional reaction from players because we can see their faces a lot better than we can in some other sports. And so that emotion is inherently part of the game. And I think it's part of the fun of the game. It's why I get upset when the NBA tries to crack down on celebrations or taunting and things like that. Let the guys have an emotional reaction. Or when players are upset with referees after in a very tense moment of the game, let the guys be upset in the moment. This is an emotional sport. These guys care a ton about what they do. Fans care a ton about it too. Let those emotions show through in the game. But again, emotional reaction there from Donte DiVincenzo and the Knicks responding to it. But Karl-Anthony Towns also on the show explained how he found out that he was traded. And it was kind of unique the way he actually heard about it. Here we go.
Or the Shams tweet, did you find out?
4 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. By the time the shock wore off, Shams had already tweeted. So
Who called you first?
I didn't get called. They told me, Tim told me to my face that I was traded. So
Respect.
Gangster.
Respect.
Gangster
That's
too.
respect.
It was gangster. I ain't gonna lie.
Respect. Respect.
Give
Was
respect
it?
for that.
So where were you? When,
Minnesota.
no, you weren't. I'm
Well, I
just
was
saying.
at the house.
Oh, you're at the house. You
Yeah,
came to the house.
yeah. He came to the crib.
I respect that.
I respect it.
I respect that. for sure.
Honestly, it's a tough situation regardless what would have happened. But
Yeah.
the fact that it happened that way, I got to give him respect because it was me, 3 of my closest friends, and my pops. So shout out to him. He came to a house by himself with 5 dudes there who could have just started spazzing out and crashed out. And we said,
That's
nah.
dope.
So I got to give him respect for that for sure.
So Tim Connolly shows up to Towns' house. And I mean, fortunately, he got there when he did, because this is, this can be a tough situation, right? If a player never wants to find out through social media, player doesn't want to get a tweet notification from Shams Charania that says they've been traded. That's not the way guys want to find out. They want the team that they play for, that they fight for, to tell them. And credit to Tim Connolly. He didn't call him. He didn't text him, for crying out loud. He showed up. He went to Towns' house and told him face to face, this is what it is. I need to let you know what's going on, and told him that he'd been traded. And Towns respected that, which makes a lot of sense. You know, as a player, you're going to be upset. You're going to be frustrated maybe. Maybe you feel, as Josh Hart said earlier, that maybe you feel unwanted, but ultimately you respect that Tim Connolly, in this case, went there man-to-man, told Karl-Anthony Towns, look, this happens in this business, and this is what we've decided to do as a club. We've made this move. We've sent you to the Knicks, and this is what's happening. So now you've got a really interesting New York Knicks team that has Karl-Anthony Towns in the middle. I think they match up much better now with the Boston Celtics. I can't wait to see the Knicks versus Celtics battles over the course of the year, and hopefully we get one in the postseason as well. I think this is going to be a good move for the Knicks, and maybe not the wrong move for the Minnesota Timberwolves either. Donte DiVincenzo is an incredibly talented player, and let's not forget, they also got Julius Randle, still a longstanding member of Randall Island. Julius Randle, I wonder how he's going to fit with Gobert, but both clubs making moves that they think are going to help them both right now as well as in the future. Everybody, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What did you think about how the Knicks responded to Donte DiVincenzo yelling stuff at their bench mid-game? And then Karl-Anthony Towns, fortunately, having Tim Connolly show up at his door to let him know that he had been traded. Fortunately, he arrived 4 minutes before Shams Charania had gotten a hold of the news and put it out there on social media. But again, give me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.